Herman Landsman joins me in Egypt.
Yeah, that's right. All the way in Egypt.
You're still there? You're sticking around for a few days after your event?
Yes, I'm here with my kids. So we're spending a couple of days. We visited some temples in Luxor and Aswan. And now we're relaxing a couple of days in Hurghada, flying back home on Friday.
Fantastic. You've done a few events out there now, Herman, in Egypt.
Yeah, this is my fourth one. Yes, correct.
Let's talk a bit about what you do skydiving and all the disciplines in skydiving, but load organizing especially, and like what I do, taking a bunch of people in a small aircraft up to the top and organizing them in a twin otter or a caravan of Pilatus, between 10 and 20 people is one thing, but taking hundreds in a C-130, wow, I mean, that's a big deal. That's a lot of responsibility.
Luckily I'm not organizing all 100, but I'll organize them in such a way that they can exit safely and do all I can to secure their safe landing spot. Yeah, that's right. And especially here in Egypt, it's quite tricky because you don't want to be too long on the spot, ending up in or over the city too far. So yes, it's quite, it's a responsibility, but I've had to practice.
Yeah, you've been doing C-130s for quite a long time. What kind of running have you got? I mean, from the first people to the last people, what kind of distance are we talking about?
That's quite a bit. The Hercules flies about 130 to 140 knots most of the time. So it's quite some miles stretched out. That's why here in Egypt, at least we did 2 passes, each pass, which enables, like 30, 35 people to exit on one pass without any delays. The moment you start delaying in the exit order, then you might get in trouble. But it worked out very well this time, yes.
So you had quite a career. How long have you been jumping now, Herman?
I'm in the sport for about 42 years now. I made my first jump in sports jump, that is, in 79 in South America, that is.
Oh, it wasn't in Texas.
No. There were 2 instructors from Texel in Suriname. It used to be a Dutch colony in South America.
Yeah.
And I was doing my studies for civil engineering and had to spend 1 year doing some work in that field. So I opted to go to South America. And during my time there, I noticed that they were jumping. So I said, hey, well, let's try it again, as I first jumped in the military, but that was 2.5 years earlier.
Yeah.
And then these 2 instructors from Texel were there giving courses. I joined one of the courses, and the moment I did my first free fall, I said, this is it. This is going to be it. And it still is.
So what year was that then?
That was in 1979
in
Suriname, South America, yes. And then the summer following, in 1980, I went to Texel for the first time.
Yeah.
To work there in order to be able to make some jumps for 2 months. Then I finished my studies, and the year after I went full-time back into skydiving.
Where were you born? Were you born around Texel way or not?
No. It's even further away. I was born in Indonesia.
Ah.
Yeah. It's quite a... No, in that respect, I covered all the Dutch ex-colonies. I was born in Indonesia. I grew up in the Caribbean on one of the Dutch Caribbean islands. I lived in Suriname for a couple of years, and then only when I was 17 years, I was sent to Holland to start studying and finish my high school.
That's what's really interesting about these chats. I mean, we've been around each other for years and years, and we only see each other on the drop zone, a high five before you get on a plane or you get off. You never really get much chance to sit down and have a good long chat about what's been going on. So, I mean, that was very early to be going into full-time skydiving. A very different world than we've got now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the things have changed tremendously. At that time, there was no AFF, there was no tandem.
Yeah.
The only way to start skydiving was with round canopies, like military surplus. And, with 3-second delay, clear and pull, 5-second, 10-second, you had to do it all by yourself. Some people struggled like 10, 15 times doing a clear and pull before they were released to have a longer delay in free fall.
That was me.
So no, yeah. I mean, times have changed incredibly. I mean, the tandems of obviously, and AFF especially, if you really wanted to get into skydiving, was really a big change.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When did you first come across AFF? Because it started in the States and then it started to move the mid-80s into Europe, didn't it?
Yeah, I did my AFF instructor rating course in January '84 in DeLand, Florida.
Right.
And I was fortunate to have some of the best guys as my evaluators, like Tom Pyrus.
Right.
He was one of my evaluators. Who else was there? Rocky Evans, who passed away a couple of years ago, I think. So quite some celebrities in the sport. I was fortunate enough. Mike Johnson from DeLand was one of my evaluators. So yeah, that was a very interesting time.
Yeah, it was
very
new, wasn't it? It was only a few years. Yeah,
completely. And right after that, I was very fortunate again because Roland Hilfiger, School of Human Flight, Ampuria Brava, actually came to Europe and started School of Human Flight to give courses on Texel. And while his instructors, Mike Michigan, Mitch Dakota, they were on Texel giving courses, while Roland Hilfiger was in Spain trying to set up Skydive Emporia Brava.
Right.
And that happened, that was for 2 years. And in '85, I think the end of '85, early '86, he opened up Emporia Brava. Yeah. And obviously the School of Human Flight moved with him to Emporia Brava. I think the Texel Pilatus Porter even was there at the opening of Emporia Brava. This was late '85 or early '86 with Roland Hilfiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go down there then?
Not personally, but I met Roland when he was on Texel a few times and met all his instructors when they were on Texel during the summers. But I went there in '85 or '86. I'm not sure anymore. Yeah.
Well, were formations happening then? Were people starting to get together a little bit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that was happening a lot, but I mean, quite different than nowadays. I mean, the way people are educated right from the start in doing this, the correct moves and the correct body positions is so much different than in those days. I mean, I can speak from experience. I had when I first started doing team training. I mean, it took me probably 1,000 jumps to get in the right body position because I learned it from the start the wrong way. I mean, the wrong way, a different way, which was obviously not good enough to do formation skydiving with turning a lot of points. So that has really changed a lot. Yes.
Well, for sure it has. I mean, my 200th jump was over skydiving Emporia Brava. We were doing a 6-way. I saw the guys in the plane and I saw them the next time back in the hangar.
Yes. No, we had the same thing when I started jumping. We were jumping actually only from 7,000 feet on Texel. Yeah. And you did your first 2-way and you never saw the other guy, indeed, until you were in the hangar. And then everybody blaming each other, saying, "Hey, where were you? You did it wrong." No, you did it wrong. That's how it started, Yeah. So I mean, those things are unimaginable these days. I mean, there's so much more coaching. There's so much more guidance in the sport, which makes it only better and safer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure with the wind tunnel as well. Now people with 50 jumps are doing incredible things. It's very
that's very impressive. Yes, I mean with the wind tunnels nowadays, that's unbelievable.
So when did you start putting people together, making shapes in the sky? When did that start for you?
Well, when that started for me, organizing myself was in the late '80s, early '90s when I joined up with Alexis Perry. You probably still know him.
Yes.
And we started our exotic boogies, which were actually the first tropical skydiving events where we took a bunch of skydivers ranging from 100 to 200 to exotic locations and have a party for 2 weeks.
Where was the first one? Where was the first one?
First one we did was in Zanzibar in 1992.
Yeah.
And that followed up after we had a small boogie in Tanzania. Alexis was there as well. And actually the very first tropical boogie I was involved with was in 1986, where we went with 200 skydivers. We flew from Amsterdam to Fortaleza, Brazilian town. Wow. On the northern coast of Brazil. We had 200 skydivers there. Wow. And this originally was scheduled to be in Suriname. We had good contacts with the government and the military there, but about 3 weeks before the event, they had to cancel it because there was an internal war going on
Right.
in the jungle. So they had to cancel it. And one of the military governing people, they had good contacts in Brazil. So we were able to move the whole thing to Brazil, to the north of Brazil. Fortaleza, the town is called.
Yeah.
And that's where we actually had, in 1986 in October, the very first tropical boogie, with 200 skydivers leaving Amsterdam, arriving in Fortaleza, spent 10 days there, good or bad. Many things went bad. I mean, it was one hell of a ride, of course, because of that change. But I mean, 90% of the people, if you ask them, that was one hell of a boogie.
Wow.
So that was the very first one. Alexis Perry was there as well.
Yeah.
He was one of the people who helped it organized. And this was with some of my colleagues from Tetlow when we organized that. So yeah, that was very exciting times. And then early 90s, we started picking it up with Exotic Sky Adventures. Together, yes. I did that with Alexis Perry. And we did almost 25 boogies each year in a different country most of the time. And then that really picked up. And nowadays, I mean, you can't open a magazine and there's a boogie in some tropical location, Costa Rica will be up soon. Maldives has been there. Palau, Rich Grimm has done a lot of those things now. Yeah. So yeah, that's been quite a ride. Very, very interesting, of course.
When I started in 1990, and I remember getting the British mag before the internet, of course, and opening it up and seeing the adverts there for your Exotic Sky Adventures. And yeah. So tell us about some of the places you went to.
Well, we had boogies actually all over the world. We had a couple of fantastic in Thailand. Yeah. We've jumped in Malaysia, Indonesia, Bali. We jumped in South America, in Cuba, Uruguay, Ecuador, of course, Africa. We went to Mozambique. We went to Tanzania. We went to Zanzibar. So yeah, many, many places all over the world.
But I've spoke to Rich Grimm for many hours about organizing these events, the amount of work and the amount of communications which go backwards and forwards. And for you, before email, doing it.
Oh, no, that was a disaster. It was all with fax, at that time.
Yeah.
With faxes going back and forth. So yeah, that was. I mean, you cannot imagine how that went at that time anymore. I mean, we're so used to what we have these days. It's incredible how that works. Yeah, the communication is indeed crucial, and for sure, so much easier nowadays.
And were you instrumental? Were you at the front organizing these events, Herman? Were you?
Exotic Sky Adventures, yes, together with Alexis Perry and one other guy. He doesn't jump anymore. And when Alexis left the scene, then I did a couple of them with Derek Thomas. You know Derek from
yes.
Yes, so he was involved as well, also from the start as one of the organizers, and quite a lot. Rob Kolpus, him as well. He was one of the first ones to come along with this. Mitch Dakota was one of them. So yeah, we had, and mostly we were using military aircraft. We used Herculeses, helicopters in Cuba. So we had our team of organizers spread around. So each nationality would try to bring his group of people, and that made it a very international event as well, which was very nice. So we had a staff gear with the same colored jumpsuits, the same colored canopies. So yeah, that was incredible times. Very, very nice.
Yeah, it was quite interesting with having Rob Culpris and Derek Thomas there. They got the matching rigs and the matching jumpsuits.
Yeah, that's right. That's very right.
In fact, the first javelin I bought was Rob Culpris's last boogie organizing javelin. That was the first one I bought.
Yeah, that's right. And before this, actually, with the formation flying, I did a lot of crew.
Yeah,
I was in the Dutch national team, and we were quite successful at the various world championships. So that was actually the beginning of the if you call it like that, the jumping career. Yeah. And that was had a lot to do with crew. Yes,
I think especially I saw a video a couple of days ago. Now with the 360 cameras, you can get a good inside look, which people have never seen before. What crew is all about and how it goes on. It's a really high energy, fast sport, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah, and especially with these cameras, as you mentioned, that's incredible how close it brings to you to the all the little details
Yeah.
from each angle. I mean, that's amazing, amazing. Yeah, we had even some shots that we're taking at the the past event in Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, it looks good, and it probably makes it even look better than it actually is because you can see it from so many different angles. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that keeps on developing. So that even makes it more how would you say it, interesting in the sport as well, because you are even it's possible to even portray it in a different way than people are used to, and then they say, "Whoa, does it look like that?" And then that gives you a whole new dimension as such. Yeah.
And what about tandems? You would have been one of the early tandem guys, I would imagine.
I'll tell you a little story. When I was in January 1984 in the land doing my AFF rating, there was a tandem rig there. So I asked Bill Booth, can we jump it? He says, yes, take it. And so maybe you remember him, Charles von Zuri, a Swiss instructor.
I do remember Charles, yeah.
Yeah, Charles. I was there with Charles doing the same AFF instructor rating course. And so we tossed a coin and who was going to be in the back and who in the front. I was in the back, he was in the front. We went into a 182 and we did a tandem. No briefing, no nothing. Wow. And no drogue at that time.
No drogue?
No, there was no drogue. The vector systems from Bill Booth did not have any drogues in the beginning.
Yeah.
Booth actually didn't believe in it at the very beginning. Strong, on the other hand, Strong Enterprises, they had drogues from the start. And by the time, after a couple of years, Vector also realized, Booth, that something had to be done, and they also put in the drogue.
Yeah.
But my first tandem was without a drogue, from 9,000 feet, a couple of seconds delay, boom, open it up, and there you go. No briefing, no nothing. That's how it went. It's unbelievable. Yes, that was crazy. So I think I did my official AFF or tandem rating in 85 or 86, early 86, I think. Yeah.
You still do them now? You still do tandems?
Yeah. I still do tandems, still do AFF. Yeah.
Oh, incredible, isn't it?
Still love it.
Any thoughts of slowing down? Or are you happy to keep going strong?
Well, at this pace, I'm my normal job is for Aerodyne. I represent them in Europe, so all the jumping I do is a bit on the side. But it's still a very big part of it. And I think you need to be in the sport as well and use all the equipment you're trying to sell or advertise for. So I think it's very good to be active and stay active as long as the body keeps on going and the mind keeps on going.
Yeah.
The game is much too nice to quit.
Yeah, it certainly is. Which of those exotic sky adventures jumps to the front of your mind when you think about it? Which ones is always there?
Well, there's not only one. There's a couple, like in Thailand, Cuba, and Mozambique. I think those were the most memorable because of the views and the countryside, the culture, the people. I mean, that's also a nice part of of these travels. It's not only, even with those exotic sky adventure boogies, our aim was not only to go there, just jump 5 days and then leave, but have a holiday there, which enables you to also spend some time there, to look around, to have 2 days off, go somewhere, and taste the culture, meet the people, and combine that with skydiving.
Yes,
and that's really something we try to promote at that time, and still doing here now. A lot of people that come to Egypt, they jump for a week, and then the other, add a couple of days in front or behind it to explore Egypt.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting with Egypt. It feels like there's two teams running events there. Is how it is? 4 teams running events?
There's 3 to 4 different groups organizing these events. And I'm working with one of them, and this was the fourth time, which was until so far very successful. Yeah. So they're kind of competing against each other, and unfortunately, one of the groups, I think they were here in June, they never got to make one jump.
Oh.
They were, for whatever reason. I mean, it's very hard to say in these kind of countries what the cause is. There's so many instances, authorities involved. Is it some general who says no? Is it something else, you'll never really find out. But yeah, so far so good. All the events have been moving on, so that was okay.
I mean, you must have come across that over the years where you just suddenly received a block for no reason.
Oh yeah, I mean, we like for instance, we had a boogie in Malaysian Borneo 2 times in a row. The first time went flawless. The second time we arrived there, and there was no plane. My local contact there kind of screwed up, and there was no plane, and there we were with 180 people. So I had to we send the people off, go and spend your time well, look at things, go visit whatever, while we were trying to get an aircraft, which we succeeded in. And after 2 days, 3 days, the Hercules arrived, luckily.
Yes.
I mean, those things can happen in those kind of countries, and that's the risk you take. But fortunately enough, I think only once in the Galapagos Islands, we never made a jump.
Right.
We never made a jump while we were there with about 80 or 90 people. And that was also something, it's out of your control, but you're actually responsible because you bring the people there. Yeah. And you cannot just say, oh, no, some government said no. The people will come to you as an organizer anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a big disappointment, but all the others, that worked out pretty well. Yes.
Yeah. Was that an aircraft with the Galapagos?
Like
yes.
No, the Galapagos was a last minute recall from the government because they had so much international pressure.
Yeah.
Because the Galapagos is like an environmental friendly area. It's all protected, blah, blah, blah. But they have military jumping going on there once in a while. So the guy, our counterpart in Ecuador, had everything under control, he thought, but he didn't. So at the end, we did not make a jump there.
Is there anywhere left on the planet that you still want to feel in free fall?
Well, I definitely like to go back to Cuba. The only problem there is they cannot guarantee any aircraft, and it's still too early to bring any aircraft from abroad in. Yeah. It's not there yet. I mean, in a couple of years it might change, but at the moment it's that won't work yet. But Cuba is definitely on my list to try to pursue it again. Yeah, and I personally haven't jumped at the Maldives yet. That would be something as well. Yeah. But I'm sure I'll bump into some location. Costa Rica actually also is one of them. I haven't jumped there yet. And I was in touch with Rich for a long time about it. I was very fortunate to work with Rich jumping in the Blue Hole.
Yes.
I mean, that was also mind-blowing. That was really, really nice. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. That was actually, that was on my list, and that worked out. That was fabulous, fabulous. So yeah, there's more to discover. I'm looking at some options here and there, but it's sometimes in some countries, like in Thailand, where we used to go very often, it's very hard to do anything at the moment. Some other countries are opening up. Now I'm involved in an event in Uruguay, which is actually at the same time as Costa Rica.
Yes.
So when Rich actually canceled his event, I was going to go for that one. And then when Rich opened up again, I got stuck in Uruguay. Yeah. And that's going to be with the Hercules as well. And we'll definitely draw some people. Yeah.
And what do you think about the big way, the record, the 400 way, Herman? Do you think it'll ever be beaten?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a hard question. The biggest problem, I don't think the skydive itself will be the biggest issue. I mean, we probably can go over 400 with the quality of the skydivers these days and the commitment a lot of people have. It's more the logistics and getting a country prepared to put down 6 Herculeses, for 15 to 20 jumps, guaranteed, et cetera, et cetera. I think that is the biggest issue at the moment. Yeah, skydiving wise, I think it can be broken. Maybe not up to 500, but just over 400, like 425, 430. I'm sure that's possible. But logistically wise, that's incredible task. Incredible.
Yeah.
Especially with any country where you try to do this, to get their commitment as well. I mean, that's Oh, that's a big thing.
I mean, it's because you'll get one person saying yes, but you don't know if that's the final person who actually has the decision.
Exactly. That's 100% true. Correct.
Well,
Yep.
Good luck with it. Well, Herman,
Yeah.
I won't see you in Uruguay, of course. I'll be in Costa Rica, but it's been fantastic to catch up with you.
Thanks so much for contacting me, and it was a pleasure.
I'll see you somewhere around the world, I'm sure.
Yeah, small world. Take good care.
Take care, my friend.
All right.
Thanks very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye.